It is a very cold day today. Hello. Today, take on Shanshao Village. Monumenta will teach you that colonization is a valid tactic, and I think I failed my Thunderstep recast because I waited too long. I don't really understand why this area exists in Shanshao, because there's no chest here. But it doesn't feel like there's an incentive to actually walk over there. Okay, this lag is kind of awful. Moonblade. Today we are playing Arcanist, but it's not the conventional Arcanist because if you can see anything through the lag, we don't have insight. Because this is a Moonblade blender build, it has to run. Let me see if I remember the combo. It has to run Moonblade 2, and then I like Omen 2's pull because it's fun, and so that means I don't get to play the counting game. It's a very interesting trade-off. Maybe not something that you would recommend to anyone playing Arcanist for the first time, but it is what I'm doing for my first time playing Arcanist, pretty much. Did it break the chest? Right, it can break chest because I generated the loot table already. How this build performs is quite POI dependent. If you are in a POI where the stuff is relatively fragile by default, as in like think about like Wolfswood, right? Then it holds up very well. To high numbers of mobs. But once you go to Star Point, you end up with a situation where half the mobs have like 180 health by default, and that's then the build kind of struggles because you can't kill things. The goal is that you should be able to pop a mob with one elemental spell and one arcane spell, like whether it's like a Magma Shield and then Moonblade, or whether it's might pop. Yep, okay. Really shouldn't be running straight into the mob like that. Remember to stay hydrated. Very important, especially if you are fighting. But I think maybe it's just because Prismatic Shield U is a very, very good lifeline to play with. But I can hear the mobs coming for me. I don't know how to get up there safely. Die. Yeah, I don't know whether it's because Prismatic Shield U is a very nice lifeline to have, or whether it's just because Arcanist is a really survivable build in general. I mean, I am running a fairly tanky one, but this has somehow become the most consistent build for me to play in terms of getting through a POI and not dying in the process. Of course, it's a bit harder to play when you are lagging like this with the 16 FPS and all. Maybe this is because I'm running the particles at full steam, but the particles are too pretty, man. I can't not. I'm experimenting with moving my enhancement point off of Frost Nova, moving to Thunderstep, and it's created some fairly interesting use cases. For example, it's probably possible to Thunderstep into a cloud of mobs and then pop a spell cycle and then use the recast to get out. I mean, only if you manage to do it within the requisite 3 seconds though. I haven't seen how the paralysis can be used yet. It seems kind of hard to be able to pull off because you need to somehow recast it within 30 seconds and the base cooldown of Thunderstep is 20. Oh, it's dead. So you've only got like this fairly short window to cast if you remember that, you know, you somehow were in a situation that didn't need you to recast it. I swear I don't pop Prismatic Shield this much by default. Paralysis in theory is probably a good thing to give to the base skill, but because I think I remember complaints that if you Thunderstep into a group of mobs, you tend to end up in a situation where you end up in a situation where you immediately get meleeed and there's nothing you can really do about it. Hopefully we can out-heal the Wither. Nice one. Yeah, because Thunderstep at base is only... Ugh. Let's take a step back. Where are these mobs coming from? Whoa, they're not dead. Thankfully, we can fix that fairly easily. Okay, those do not give jump boost, they give something else. No need to recast because the slime is dead. No, please, just die. I don't want to hear about it. We are not Shatter 3ing again because I forgot to repair a piece. I think so far as I remember, paralysis is just, it's just 100% slow. I don't know if it's like a actual, whether it actually turns off the AI of the mob. Can't quite just spell spam through a wall, especially if the thing decides to move away. Why is it chivalrous? I don't remember if elites are supposed to be chivalrous. Although I guess, I mean, the evidence is right in front of me. They can definitely be chivalrous. Oh my days. Creeper. I used to be using Steaming Stave because the speed was really cool. And I switched to Hydrangea because I realized the build had no aptitude, and I was wondering if I could afford to take a small damage hit, like a 3% damage hit, in order to get the okay, let's get out of here. Oh, if I hadn't panicked, then that would have been a good case to show off how good you can use a recast of Thunderstep as a mobility skill. I mean, I feel like Thunderstep really comes into its own in R3 as long as you have Cry Havoc, but in R1, R2, it's so ass to use as a mobility skill. Vinny told me once that you can just use it as a damage skill if you run. Okay. If you run step 2, you just use it as a damage skill by just facing directly into the floor when you cast it. Because it's like 8 damage twice. And of course magic has no iframes except for Astral Omen and Spellshock. But because the range in R3 is so much better, you can like actually use it to move around. I feel like I'm going up the wrong way. No, wait, this is correct. I'm just not used to approaching it from the direction that I approached it in. That was one case where I managed to walk forwards, hit the mobs with a couple spells, and then back out. See if I can do it again here. Yep, there you go. It's only really actually, it's kind of hard to say when it's helpful. You need to be in a case where like it isn't better to just run up to them and kill them. Of course, they should by right pursue, but I mean, probably by the time they catch up to you, you should have gotten at least one spell back. Whether it's like maybe it's only like Mana Lance and stuff, right? The damage from the recast is not important. I think what people usually use the recast for is they just aim straight down and then cast an arcane spell twice to apply Arcane Omen. I did not have the recast up. It had been more than 3 seconds. Yeah. You use the recast to apply a third or second Thunder Omen. Unless you do it like that. but it is actually pretty useful as a pure mobility skill. I was looking at the code for Thunderstep the other day, and fun fact, there is a little bit of the implementation that allows you to go up and down a little bit. So that you aren't completely locked to, you need to have your entire player's bounding box be able to pass through in a straight line to where you're going. This makes the skill somewhat better to use. Like, for example, I could probably do this. Yeah. I was wondering if it would be better if you didn't just restrict that to a wiggle in Y, but you also allowed it to wiggle in Z and X. I might be cooked here unless I pop my Prismatic Shield. Never mind. I just got all my abilities back in time. Although I might just die to these things instead. You want to know how much damage the recast does? Consider that the recast damage is 20% of the original spell, and the original spell is a base 5 thunder magic damage. A base 5, 20% of a base 5 thunder magic damage is 1. Your recast is dealing 1 thunder magic damage. That is to say, barely anything at all. Die. Why is the loot so bad? Oh, I'm too used to running POIs with other people. This is just 12 point scaling, I think. Oh, looks like we're done with Chantrell. I hope this is an interesting insight into the stupidest Arcanist you've ever met, because it has no insights. You've got to have your own.